Hello my friends, welcome to my channel. In this episode, we are going to resolve the conflict between general relativity and quantum mechanics. But please don't worry at all. I'm going to use the most simple language to explain. So I guarantee that you will be able to understand the logic behind my words. Okay, so what is the conflict is about? First of all, I will give the technique explanation and then I will use my own language to explain this to you. So technically speaking, general relativity describes the universe as continuous, smooth, and deterministic, while quantum mechanics describe it as discrete, probabilistic, and full of fluctuations. That's why when both theories are applied to the same physical situation, their predictions become incompatible. I know this sounds very technical, that's why I'm going to use my own language to explain. So first of all, let's understand general relativity, because most of us, we definitely resonate more with general relativity's worldview. Why? Because the scale we live at is generally we say things are stable. If you hold a stone in your hand, you wouldn't say it's flowing, it's like with a lot of fluctuation because you cannot visibly see it. But if you are a scientist, if with equipment you can see the very rapid fluctuation within all the items or within your body, every cells, and then you would understand the world differently. You will say, oh, everything is flowing, everything is full of motion, and the essence is flow. But then when these two kind of people, when they're facing each other, they will just feel like, what are you talking about? So this is the basically this is the conflicts right here, is that they stand on different scales and they understand this world differently. So when they face each other, they confuse like, what are you talking about? And another one say, what are you talking about? This is the problem here. And I'm sure that in real life, we all can relate to this. Because if somebody tell you that the world is deterministic, and another person said it's all about probability, the fluctuation is not stable, everything is full of potential, then people will feel like they contradict each other. So now we are going to really understand this question, and then we will figure it out. To be honest, I believe that this question, the reason why it still is a mystery, then people feel like this is something nobody can solve, I think it's just based on the misunderstanding. And the first misunderstanding is that so many times, in most of the time, that we just believe that what we say is real. I think this is the simplest way to put it. You know, sometimes when we directly take what we say by our eyes as the reality itself, it can really be a huge problem. But this is what we do all the time, again and again and again. As I said earlier, because the scale we live in, we are not be able to always understood or say it by our eyes or say it by equipment, those fluctuations. So it's hidden, like that layer of reality is kind of like, relatively speaking, hidden from us, from most of us. You know, general people, not like scientists, can use machine to detect those fluctuations. So that layer of reality is hidden from us. So we take it for granted, we get used to this kind of mindset to understand this world as just smooth, completely smooth and fixed and stable universe. This is how we generally understand. So this is the first important thing, is that we need to understand our relationship towards the reality is in this layer, right? We are stay in this certain layer of scale, this scale that it locked us to a certain type of relationship towards the reality. And that's why we'll have certain impression of the reality most of the time. And we got to, at least we have to be aware of it. If we don't be aware of it, then there's no way we can really find the reconciliation between these so-called different worldviews. And we also have to learn things from history. We know that with the time, with the development of technology, and now we can literally, we transcend the worldview. We understand underlying in smaller scales. The reality is full of motion, is full of fluctuations, is full of, there is no such thing as absolute stability. So we'll keep breaking through those obstacles that we think that we can never cross. Because now we can literally understand the world in a different layer, and that is important, that is crucial for the development of our understanding of reality. And we have to appreciate that. So nowadays, if you explain to another person that world is flow, world is full of motion, and impermanence about these things in Taoism, in Buddhism, they will not say that, oh, it's just pseudoscience and it's superstitious and what you say is just make no sense. People will not say that anymore because we already transcend that kind of worldview based on the development of science. I'm saying in a technology way, in the scientific scale. This is how we develop our understanding with time. And the second reason, I think is even more severe, is that we have this pre-assumption that we believe that we can be the absolute observer. And this kind of understanding, this kind of pursuit is all through the history, in philosophy, in religions, and in scientific field, that people all been through this stage that we want to be absolute observer, which completely detached from all sorts of relationship. Therefore, we can understand, we can see the complete picture of the reality. So this is our hope. I mean, people want this because we believe that if we can detach from all sorts of relationship, we can be the most objective one. But this is the problem here. This is the problem. There is a famous Chinese poem that says that, viewed from the front, it appears as a mountain ridge. Viewed from the side, it becomes a towering peak. From far or near, high or low, it reveals a different face. We cannot know the true face of Mountain Lu, simply because we are standing within it. So I think this is the perfect philosophical explanation why we need to reconsider our understanding of relationship. Just imagine, I'd like to mention this analogy of form again, because form is perfect. Like when you look at a form in a distance, it has its own shape, it's just piece of form and it looks like quite still. But obviously, if you zoom in, you will find, wow, all those little bubbles that just emerge or disappear, emerge or disappear. Those fluctuations, those motion, those activities, you cannot even count by your eyes. It's too many, right? And this applies to everything about different scale. In our body, like if you zoom in by the machine, see the cells, you will see how many activities and motion. Or if you zoom into so-called particles, or even you just see it by a distance, you see this planet, the cloud will be stable, looks stable, but if you zoom in, you will see those clouds are floating all the time. So this is what I'm trying to explain. It's about our relationship with other relational structures, no matter they are like so-called things or matters or whatever. It really depends on that. It really depends on our relationship, our distance with that mountain, or our angle with this object. So without this relationship, there wouldn't be a manifestation of them in our experience at the first place. Because this is how we experience them, is that we build a relationship with our object. And in this relationship between us with that object, that they manifest in certain shape, in certain form, in certain condition, based on certain condition. Without this relationship, they will simply not even manifest. Then what are we talking about? In that case, what are we talking about? Objective, completely objective observer, right? So this is before, when we discuss quantum mechanics, we see so clearly and repeatedly about this. This is so important. If you understand this, then you will know that this so-called conflicts between these two theories, it's not even real. We got to understand that when we say the mountain, it looks different, you have different shape, it's not because this mountain changed. It's because our relationship with this mountain changed, right? In different angle, you will see the mountain in different shape. That we all understand. So how comes that when we go to different scale to understand the reality, that the reality manifests in different appearance? So how could that be just cannot accept? It's a mystery. Why is a mystery? It's not a mystery. It should be like that. Imagine if, it's such a creepy thing sometimes. When I'm just imagine, if I zoom in and zoom out, I change my distance with an object, and there's no difference. There's no change. No matter I stay how close or how far to that object, it shows as identical appearance to me. I think that will be creepy. That will be unbelievable. That will be something wrong there, right? So there is no, there's nothing strange about it. Our relationship changed, our zooming to different scale to analyzing the reality, so it shows in different shape. It manifests in different appearance. That's the most natural thing in this universe. Therefore, I think we do about these things while we're looking for so-called the theory of everything, but I think we have a wrong expectation. We want a theory. We want to be the completely objective observer. We want to found a position that no matter how our angle, how our relationship with that object, it will never change. The reality will never change. It will completely manifest the same way as we want it. That's not realistic. And I think maybe the real, the real wisdom maybe is to understand this reality, to understand the reality that we can never detach from relationship to observe any existence. Maybe this is the final realization that if we can accept it and in our mind, then we will find the final reconciliation between these two theories. So, the apparent contradiction between general relativity and quantum mechanics may be very much like the ancient Chinese saying, like, viewed from the front, it appears as a mountain ridge. Viewed from the side, it becomes a towering peak. Both theories are describing the same universe but from entirely different relational scales. General relativity deals with stars, galaxies, black holes, and the fabric of space-time itself. It seems to understand how mass and energy shape the geometry of space-time and how objects move within that curved geometry. At this scale, the universe appears continuous, smooth, and governed by elegant, predictable laws. Quantum mechanics, by contrast, focused on microscopic systems such as electrons, photons, and quarks. It explores interactions at the smallest scales of reality, where the universe reveals itself through probability, fluctuations, discreteness, superposition, and quantum correlations. Naturally, people ask, how can the same universe look so different under these two theories? But if even just the mountain itself reveals different appearances depending on where we stand, then why should we expect the universe to look exactly the same at every scale? So this is a question that we need to reflect. So from the perspective of relational non-duality, it's just this so-called conflicts here, it's just about the scale. In different scale, you stand in different position and you will form different sorts of relationship with the reality, and it manifests in different way and shape in your understanding. And that's why. And there is no fundamental differences because it's the same crystal. We just see the different facets depends on where we stand. Therefore, if you ask me, how do I see this conflict between these two theories? I don't see the conflict. I really have no ideas why people struggle with this conflict. As I said earlier, if I say no matter which angle, which position I stand, I see the completely same reality without even a difference there, I think that will be creepy, honestly speaking. So even though I'm not a professional scientist, I'm not, of course not. But I mean, the basic logic here would be fundamental. As I always say, we should really adapt to the understanding of non-duality. So I don't say the separation between science and philosophy. Therefore, I think would be the best that if we can first reflect on this question itself, and then we can get all those, very powerful calculations and explanations and theories. That's all fine. But the first step it's going to be fundamentally important, isn't it? If the first step will really go to the wrong direction, then where are we going to go in the future then? So this is what relational non-duality trying to remind us. Well, to solve these conflicts or contradiction between these two theories is not difficult at all. We just need to really understand one thing, which is relationship. And the first thing is to understand generally our relationship with the reality is kind of locked in certain scale. So we naturally forgot another layer of reality, of probability, of fluctuations, of non-stop motions. So that's why that to understand this reality, to understand our, our limit in a way is our limit of our senses, that we just take it, what we see by our eyes as the reality. This is the first thing. And the second thing is that, it applies universally and in different field is that we got to understand that our understanding of everything is based on relationship. Don't and just stop seeking for this so-called objective observer. As long as we give up this, to have this wrong expectation to seeking for that, then I guess a lot of things will solve. Not just about right now we're talking about science. In the future, we're talking about psychology, talking about a lot of spiritual practice, so-called, that just to improve ourselves. All of this will require our, how to say, our understanding and our realization to respect and really to participate in relationship. So this is a crucial thing, even though now we are talking about these things, but in the future, when time is ready, of course, we will discuss all those things that will directly related to our life and change our life in a lot of ways. So I'm ready. I'm looking forward, and I hope that you will accompany me on this important journey. Thank you so much, my friend, and I hope you enjoy this video. If you like me or like my channel, please subscribe. You can also support me through Buy Me a Coffee. I see you in the next episode. Bye for now.